On Saturday, the UFC returns to Abu Dhabi for UFC 280, featuring a UFC lightweight championship as the main event between Islam Makhachev and Charles Oliveira. Let's break it down. Islam Makhachev is 31 years old. He's 5'10" with a 70.5-inch reach and a record of 22-1 with 4 knockouts and 10 submissions. From Makhachkala Dagestan, he began training in Sambo in his youth under the tutelage of Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov, and in 2016 won a gold medal in the World Sambo Championships. He turned professional in MMA in August of 2010 with a unanimous decision, then won his next 10 with 5 submissions and 2 knockouts before making his UFC debut in May of 2015 with a second-round rear-naked choke of Leo Kuntz. 5 months later, he suffered his first loss when he was knocked out by a thunderous right-hook counter by Adriano Martins. He was expected to face Drew Dober next, but after failing a post-weigh-in drug test, did not return to competition until the following year when he defeated Chris Wade by unanimous decision. After defeating Nik Lentz, he scored a 57-second knockout over MMA veteran Gleison Tibau and then went on a 4-fight winning streak, defeating the likes of Jahan Johnson and Drew Dober by armbar and triangle choke submission, respectively. In July of 2021, he headlined his first UFC event when he took on Thiago Moises, dominating and defeating the Brazilian by 4th-round rear-naked choke. He was next scheduled to take on former lightweight champion Rafael Dos Anjos, but after Dos Anjos pulled out due to injury, he was replaced by Dan Hooker, with Makhachev winning via kimura halfway into the first round. On February 26, 2022, he took on top contender Bobby Green, putting on another dominant performance where he shot for a double-leg takedown early on in round 1, quickly taking Green's back and finishing him with ground and pound. An aggressive pressure fighter with solid striking and world-class wrestling skills, Makhachev is exceptional at taking the fight to the mat, averaging 3.4 takedowns per minute, while boasting a 68% strike defense. Charles Oliveira is 32 years old. He's 5'10" with a 74-inch reach and a record of 33-8-1 with 9 knockouts and 21 submissions. From Sao Paulo, Brazil, Oliveira began training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at the age of 12 and won his first major title at 14. He turned pro on March 15, 2008 in the Predator Fight Club, winning the welterweight Grand Prix with 3 first-round stoppages. He then won his next 11 fights with 10 by stoppage before suffering his first loss, a knee bar submission by Jim Miller at UFC 124. After a no contest due to an illegal knee with Nik Lentz, he was matched up with Cowboy Cerrone, getting dropped with a knee and then stopped by a vicious ground and pound. He bounced back the following year with 2 submissions, but was knocked out by a brutal overhand right by Cub Swanson, and after a 10-month layoff, dropped a decision to Frankie Edgar. He came back 7 months later and went on a 4-fight winning streak, including a unanimous decision over Jeremy Stephens and a guillotine choke of Nik Lentz, but then lost 4 of his next 6 fights, including a TKO due to neck injury to Max Holloway. Back-to-back guillotine chokes to Anthony Pettis and Ricardo Lamas, respectively, and then a second-round knockout by Paul Felder, who blasted him out with a series of elbows. After taking some time off to reset himself, he went on a 7-fight winning streak, all by stoppage, including submissions of Clay Guida, Jim Miller, and Kevin Lee, while scoring knockouts over Jared Gordon and Nik Lentz. On December 12, 2020, he scored an impressive victory with a comprehensive 3-round decision over former champion Tony Ferguson, in which he dominated with both his standout and ground game and nearly broke Ferguson's arm in the first round. In May of 2021, he took on former Bellator champion Michael Chandler, surviving a difficult first round that saw him dropped and out-wrestled before knocking out Chandler seconds into the second round with a series of left hooks to become the UFC lightweight champion. 5 months later, he made his first defense against former interim champion Dustin Poirier, surviving a first-round knockdown to defeat Poirier by 3rd-round rear-naked choke. On May 7, 2022, he was stripped of his title for missing weight, but continued his historic run at lightweight when, after surviving another first-round knockdown by Justin Gaethje, he was able to walk him down and drop him with a powerful right hand before submitting him via rear-naked choke. Perhaps the most technical Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner in the sport today, Oliveira holds the UFC record for submissions and finishes and has greatly improved his stand-up game, controlling the distance with jabs and leg kicks, making him one of the most well-rounded fighters in the world. Can Makhachev use his strength in wrestling to overpower Oliveira and live up to his potential? Or will the striking in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu of Du Bronx make it another short night as he continues to cement his legacy as one of the greatest fighters in the sport? Tune in Saturday night to UFC 280, Oliveira versus Makhachev, and let's find out.